Hello and welcome to a new video. In this video we're gonna assemble the x-axis. So let's see, those are the parts. Sorry, it's a little bit high. Mainly there's those two plastic parts and the bearings. So let's try to find those parts in the boxes. As always, they're labeled. So those are the two parts. Those are the ones that hold the bearings and come over the rods that they printed. They look nice, to be honest. Let's see. So as you can see, those are all the bearings that for the x-axis, but we need 4 for this project, so we're gonna remove a few. So now it's time to check the screws and nuts. Those are the ones labeled for the x-axis. Put them in a like a ball or something, so they don't get misplaced or something. Let's see. First we need those for the motor and the pulley. Then we need the nylon knot. It's the one that's a little bit curved at the top. Then we need a regular sorry, a regular knot and a M30 screw. This is like a 30 millimeter screw, and we need 18 millimeter screw. So that's flathead. If you check it with a multimeter or my trusty tape, which you shouldn't use, by the way, it's not accurate, you will see that it roughly is the same. Now this bearing has to get inside those plastic parts. Be careful with the bearings, they're very oily, so handle them with care. You don't want to grease all the parts. You have to put it slowly in. So now, as I said earlier, we have to put the bearings. This is the second bearing. It has to go from the other side. It's always best to read the instructions, because I think it should have put it from the other side. We see now why, because I'm commenting on it after I did the initial installation, so I saw my mistake. Alright, so it's in. Let's open the other ones. Be careful with the grease. You don't want all your parts to get greased. It's actually oil, not grease, but we usually use the term grease. You can see that the parts needs to have space in between them, and the two outer edges of the bearings has to like reach the end of the plastic, so they're flush with it, and even if a millimeter or so inside. So we have to separate them. As I said, it's always better to fix it the first way around than to get into the trouble of fixing it later. So we're gonna use this hex key. The smallest one seems to be perfect because it's tiny and stiff to get inside the slit. So we're gonna jam it inside, and try to use leverage to pull the bearings a little bit outside to make space in between them, as you can see. So we'll do again for the same one, but this is very important, so there's more stability. If the bearings are close to each other, there's gonna be less stability while connected to the rod. Now the problem is also that we have to, the line of bearings inside the bearing capsule has to be aligned 45 degrees to the casing and the rod. So that's another problem. My bad. You could have done it the first time around, but I have to fix it. What I did is get them out using the hex key and rotate them a bit with the plier so the correct orientation. So check the manual how the bolts have to be. This is mostly to eliminate like friction on the rods and allow the bearings to be situated in a way that there's a little bit gap or wobble. Now we will use this long 30mm screw. This one is used, you will see later, to tweak and align the motor, so to cause tension on the belt, but more on that later. You don't wanna tighten it too much. They say leave a few millimeters. We'll speed it up. Alright, now we're gonna have to put the nut, the nylon nut, and press it in. Yeah, it has its socket. And the bearing has to go in the middle, and 18mm screw inside to hold it in place. This is not the teethed bearing, this is like the smooth one for the belt to roll over. We'll tighten it, but not too much. Now we have to get those 3 bearings, and they ask us to clean them with a cloth as opposed to the previous ones. The reason is we have to mark them, so clean them good from the outside with a paper towel. Alright, so this is ungreased now. We'll get the 2 longest rods. You need the longest ones for the x-axis. Make sure they're the longest. Now we'll mark them on both sides. Make sure to mark them along the bearing lines. Check the manual for this. This is very important. This is to reduce friction, wobbling, and scratching noise. So this is very important, to be honest. So we mark them now so we can see how to fit them later on. We'll do this for all 3 bearings on both sides. Now we're finished. Let's see. We get the rods. One of the rods gets 2 bearings and the other one gets 1. So make sure of this, not to put 2 bearings on each. Now this part you have to inspect it that it's clean and doesn't have like PLA and shavings. It has to be clean, so blow some air or use a blower, and maybe use like a Q-tips, like air buzzer stuff to remove it, but make sure not to leave the cotton inside. It has to be clear so nothing jams. Yes, give it another look. This looks good for now. The other one is good as well. So now we have to insert the rods. The hole is a little bit tight for a reason, so it doesn't slip. You have to apply a little bit of force. It's good. You will hear like a click when it's deep inside. Now for the second rod, make sure the one with the 2 bearings coincide with the circular plastic part that protrudes. This is important. So check which side the load goes. The second one is almost in. I have to, as you can see, I'm a little bit fighting the parts. Now put the other side. I think the other side would be a little bit easier since they will align and we can press it onto the table. Alright. Off camera action. Now it's ready, as you can see. It has to be aligned and not twisted, so put it on a table and make sure it's not twisted. See, like this, and if it is, just give it like a bit of circular movement. So now that we finished this, we have to, according to the manual, search for the motor, the X-axis motor. So there's many motors, as you can see left. I think there were 5 in total. I thought that all motors have like are different, have like different torque and stuff, speed, but I think they're mostly identical. The only difference is the cable length. That's why you have to choose it correctly, because if you connect the incorrect one, you'll have different cable and it won't move, so you have to disassemble things, so make sure. So now we'll get the teeth pulley, put it on the shaft. The shaft has like a straight edge. This is how it has to go in. So you have to leave space between the pulley and the motor body, a few millimeters, so it doesn't hit the body. So we have to leave space between the pulley and the motor body so it doesn't cause friction, hit inside. So now we will use the hex key to tighten it. Now the next step is to put the motor and attach it to the plastic part. Keep mind of the cable, it has to go downwards like this, and connect 3 of the 4 holes. You don't have to connect the 4th one, obviously. So just align them in a way so they can drop inside the motor holes. Then tighten them with the hex key, not too tight. Now the motor has to go all the way in. If you notice that the openings are not circular, they're more oval, so the screws has to touch the hole, the right side, and there has to be spaced in the left, but I'm having trouble doing it. I'm gonna loosen a bit and try to push it forward more. As you can see, yeah, still there's like a millimeter, and this can make issues because we want it all the way to the left, so we can tighten the belt, then tighten it again. So as you can see, this is the screw that tightens the or moves the motor to the side. So we have moved it a bit so we can, so now it's much more easier to move the motor. I didn't realize that this was the issue first. It was blocking me from moving the motor. You see now the screws are to the right side, to the edge, and there's space to the other side, to the left side. And now we will tighten it when it's done. So this long 30mm screw that we inserted at the beginning of the video is very crucial. We tighten a bit and it's almost done. Perfect. Now we're done with the X-axis. Please comment, like and subscribe so I can do more videos like this. Have a nice day.